Martial Peak Chapter 1338. When they were talking, Feiji2's eyebrows move a bit. After putting away map made from animal skin, he moved his hand, and his figure swayed into the fallen Emperor Mountain. Oh, little friend, go first. Right, try not to resist the power of the Emperor prestige in this Emperor's Mountain, just feel it silently. Xianxia once again kindly advised. Thank you for the senior reminder. Yang Kai nodded slightly, rushed into fallen Emperor Mountain with Kai Du Cece and Lian Guang, 3 people. When the 4 Saint Kings entered, Xianxia and the other Void Return stages follow behind them. In fallen Emperor Mountain, there is no such thing as a beast and a venomous snake. But here, you can often encounter some crazy martial artists who launch attacks indiscriminately without asking. These martial artists all came to fallen Emperor Mountain to cultivate. But for various reasons, staying here for too long can cause the mind to be overpowered by the power of Emperor prestige, and fell into a frenzy. Every year, there are countless martial artists who come here, and accidents happen quite often in fallen Emperor Mountain. In addition, there are also some martial artists who are ill-intentioned. They regard this place as a good place to kill other people and steal their belonging, doing some unscrupulous activities. However, Jiang Kai and the other 8 people have 4 Void Return stages, and even have a strong man such as Feiji2 leading the way, so they don't have to worry about encountering these problems. As soon as he stepped into the fallen Emperor Mountain, Yang Kai felt an invisible force enveloping his whole body. Under this force, his Saint Yuan's running speed suddenly even became somewhat blocked, and when spiritual mind was released, he could only detect the situation within a few hundred feet. Under the influence of Emperor prestige, his own divine consciousness was actually suppressed to this extent. Yang Kai couldn't help but feel a little creepy. The power of the Emperor prestige was everywhere, as if there were a pair of eyes in the dark, staring at himself and observing his every movements, which made Yang Kai feels very uncomfortable, and giving the illusion of people monitoring the living. This is just a trace of the Emperor prestige. If the real Star Emperor came, how terrible would it be? By now, Yang Kai no longer doubts whether this person really exists. The 2 pieces of Star Emperor tokens he got were rumored to be left by the Star Emperor. The Star Emperor Mountain rumors also have some relationship with the Star Emperor, and this is also the case in fallen Emperor Mountain. Nothing will come out of the thin air, and that Star Emperor is probably really existed. Facing Emperor prestige, Yang Kai instinctively wants to resist 1 or 2. But remembering the kind reminder of Xianxia, looking at Kai He and others again, he found that they were all calm and turning a blind eye to it. It's still the outermost, and the Emperor prestige is not too strong, and there will be no harm if it is not resisted. Following Feiji2 all the way forward, he did not encounter any martial artist on the road. Feiji2 can perfectly lead everyone to bypass the vision and spiritual mind coverage of those who came here to cultivate. After all, this trip is extremely confidential, and Feiji2 doesn't want to get out of the way making trouble to avoid people know he is here. This walk is 2 days' effort. As he went deeper and deeper into the fallen Emperor Mountain, the power of the Emperor prestige that shrouded in the surroundings also became stronger, but Yang Kai was not surprised and dissatisfied now, because only 2 days later, he felt his own divine consciousness. The power of his divine consciousness seems to have increased a little, and under the influence of the power of the Emperor prestige, his consciousness has become clear and pure. This is really good place to cultivate divine consciousness. He didn't do much at all, and he just have to stay here to have these benefits. If he really finds a place to cultivate divine consciousness or divine soul technique, it will definitely be more effective. It's a pity that the power of Emperor prestige of fallen Emperor Mountain is only suitable for the martial artist to refine the power of divine consciousness. In addition, it has the tendency to condense itself. The effect is inevitably a bit simple, otherwise this place will definitely become a holy place for cultivation in the Shadowed Star. It is not impossible for the major forces to fight for the ownership of this place. After 3 more days of walking, Yang Kai felt a little difficulty, and the reason is obvious. Although the power of the Emperor prestige here can purify the consciousness sea and make the martial artist's divine consciousness force more powerful, this kind of strong unilateral purification will put the martial artist to bear a certain pressure. If it cannot be sustained anymore, it will inevitably affect their own mind. Yang Kai was pretty good. Until now, he didn't resist the power of that Emperor prestige. He kept silently comprehending the wonders contained in Emperor prestige according to Ning Xianxia's reminder. The other three Saint King's realm would not work. As early as yesterday, they invariably urged their own power of divine consciousness, slightly resisting the invasion of Emperor prestige, and comparing the divine consciousness cultivation level. This scene not only surprised Kai He and others, but also surprised Ning Xianxia and others. Everyone knows, although Kai He and other three people are the same Saint King three-layer realm as Yang Kai, but two of them are proficient in the formation method, and the other one is proficient in refining and operating puppetry. Either way, the requirements for the cultivation of divine consciousness are extremely demanding, especially the puppet technique of Lian family. Lian Guang can drive up to hundreds of puppets in combat, and each puppet is under the possession of his spiritual mind. The requirement for the divine consciousness is even more terrifying than the study of formation. It can be said that the divine consciousness cultivation level of these three people exceeds the martial artist of the same level. But now compared with Yang Kai, it is still slightly worse. How does this not surprise them? In the heart, they secretly guessing what kind of cultural technique Yang Kai had cultivated, actually had such a powerful divine consciousness cultivation level. Of course, Yang Kai didn't know how stupid it was. He just felt that if he resisted, the benefits he got here would be weakened, so he opened his mind and body to understand this Emperor prestige. And when Du Cixi noticed this, she immediately showed a slight expression of dissatisfaction. After all, since the practice, and because of the study of the formation method, she has always been much stronger in the intensity of the spiritual mind than the martial artist of the same level, but now Yang Kai was so arrogant in front of her that she would not accept it. After clenching her teeth and turning her heart across, she actually released the defense of her consciousness. See? It wasn't until her face was slightly pale that Kai He noticed that it was wrong. She quickly stepped forward and asked for help. She touched the gray of her nose again, and she couldn't help but smile bitterly. In front of a swamp, Fei Jitu complexion looked at the swamp in a dignified manner, and took out the animal skin drawings. After a while, he sighed and said, "Almost here, you all keep up." Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but get up quickly and kept up with his pace. This swamp in Fallen Emperor Mountain is strictly formed in a huge valley. No one knows why there is a swamp here, but the omnipresent miasma and puddles make the martial artists rarely set foot here. After all, the martial artists who came here were all to refine their divine consciousness, and they all wanted to find a comfortable place to practice well. Who would be willing to come to this place to suffer? After following Fei Jitu's feet deep in shallowly, he spent most of his time on it, and then Fei Jitu stopped suddenly, staring at a huge puddle in front of him, and said nothing. "This is it." Ning Xianxia took a step forward, standing side by side with Fei Jitu, and asked, "And, according to the message sent by Qian old man, it should be right here, just have to move a little bit more." Fei Jitu took out a bead and immediately exhaled. "Throw the bead towards the center of the puddle." In the attention of everyone, when the beads fell into the puddle immediately rose and fell, as if something underneath was stirring the pool water. Moreover, a whiff of white cold air suddenly emerged, and in an instant, the temperature in the surrounding area fell sharply. Click. There were loud noises, and the huge puddle condensed into ice at a speed visible to the naked eye, only in the middle, leaving a straight downward passage, dark and bottomless, don't know where it'd lead to. Yang Kai's spiritual mind released, and there is no way to explore the bottom. After waiting for a while, when the clicking sound no longer came out, and the passage was completely stabilized, Fei Jitu sighed, "Come in, Brother Ning, you stay behind, I will take the few little kids down first." "Okay." Ning Xianxia nodded gently. Fei Jitu glanced at Yang Kai and others. After seeing Du Cixi with a white face and a cold sweat, his brows could not help but wrinkle, and a trace of displeasure appeared on his face. How could he not see what Du Cece is doing and can't help blaming himself for letting this happen? This operation is very important. If it is not possible to find a good formation master, he will not let this female doll come over to help. In the room covered with blue light, Fei Jitu has wrapped all of Yongkai and the other 4 people with his own Saint Yuan, and immediately jumped towards the passage. Don't know how long it took. Yongkai estimated that he and others had fallen at least a few thousand feet before they suddenly fell to the ground. There was a sound of streams flowing in his ears. With the blue light shining, Yongkai turned his head and found that they was actually beside the channel of an underground river. Moreover, when he came here, the power of Emperor Prestige which shrouded him all the time, disappeared. There is such a place underground? He also said that he looked around strangely, and apparently did not expect that there would be a cave under the fallen Emperor Mountain. Well, if the ancient ruins are so easy to find, they would have been turned upside down, and old man Xiantong won't come here. Fei Jitu snorted and glanced at Du Cece. You take a break. If this happens again next time, you don't have to follow into the ruins. Du Cece bit her red lips slightly and nodded, saying that although she was proud and arrogant, she did not dare to disobey Fei Jitu. After waiting for a while, Ning Xianxia and others also went into this place. After the 8 people met again, they took a short break. Yongkai stared at one direction silently, not knowing whether it was an illusion. He always felt that from that direction, there was an ancient and desolate aura. That kind of aura can't be explained the way clearly, but it has quite a charm. Fei Jitu saw that he was staring in that direction, and he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows because the direction he was going to move forward to was exactly that position, and he didn't know if Yongkai had discovered something. To be continued.